Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Well, would you look at that, it's Groundhog Day once again. Guess what, folks, we have yet again another major bombshell, arguably one of the biggest scandals of my lifetime, possibly the biggest, certainly in line with the DNC, the Clinton campaign, Steele dossier, shadow coup attempt. It's maybe not as elaborate, not as complex, not as expensive. It's certainly smaller in scope, but it might have been more effective, so essentially equally as corrupt, just as despicable. Except even worse because it actually helped them achieve their goal. The Steele dossier, the failed impeachment and investigations served really nothing except for making Donald Trump more popular in the end. I mean, I guess you could argue it helped them win the 2018 midterms. But this corruption scandal, however, helped Joe Biden win the 2020 election. We're talking about real election interference, not from Russia, but from the CIA. We now have an email that essentially proves, word for word, that the intelligence community was in fact doing exactly that. This is the bombshell of bombshells. It's smoking gun evidence. And of course, like usual, again, Groundhog Day, the media is simply not reporting on it. We got some stuff to get into, folks. The abuse of power and weaponization of federal agencies. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so clearly here we're building on the Mike Morell / Anthony Blinken scandal. Mike Morell previously testified that back in October of 2020, Anthony Blinken, who was working for the Biden campaign at the time, reached out to him directly looking for help at the CIA to discredit the Hunter Biden laptop story during peak election time while people were casting early ballots, and they came up with this idea, the infamous former intelligence officials, 51 of them to be exact, signing on to a letter to discredit the Hunter Biden laptop story as a supposed hoax, as Russian disinformation. The media, of course, ran with the story, as you'd expect. Without scrutiny or challenge, they basically promoted the narrative. At first, Mike Morell's testimony was simply his word against another. Some could argue it was simply hearsay, just one man's testimony, not necessarily evidence. Well, it just went from hearsay to conclusive evidence, massive bombshell, smoking gun. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean. Here's the man, the myth, the legend himself from Just the News, John Solomon, once again providing receipts.
Here is the news. Just a short while ago, Just the News obtained this email. This is a very important email. It comes from the former CIA director, Mike Morell. Yes, the guy that organized that letter from the 51 intelligence professionals who tried to fake you into thinking that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation when it wasn't. It is between him and John Brennan, one of the signatories. You know who John Brennan is? He was Obama's CIA director, right? He's the guy that told Obama, hey, Hillary Clinton is doing a dirty trick on Donald Trump called Russia collusion. Well, this is just before the presidential debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Hunter Biden's laptop is flinging out there. This is what Mike Morell, former CIA director, tells his successor, John Brennan. Hey, sign this letter because I'm, quote, trying to give the campaign, particularly during the debate on Thursday, a talking point to push back on Trump on this issue. A man with a security clearance, a man with the title of CIA director, knew that he wasn't creating an intelligence product, a merrick civic duty with 51 people. He was trying to create a political moment. Damning evidence. We'll try to find out if Congress has this letter, but this is a very important piece. It is the ultimate proof that what went out on that letter was a political dirty trick coordinated with the Biden campaign.
This is an email correspondence chain between Mike Morell and John Brennan. Mike Morell seemingly trying to entice John Brennan to sign on to the letter. He writes, John, can I add your name to this list? We'll be adding Leon, Sue Gordon, Jay Johnson, George, Lisa Monaco, and Mike Rogers, DIR NSA today, and working on adding Dan Coates, Mike Rogers, HPSCI, and Tom Bossert, and lots of other intelligence community career folk trying to give the campaign, particularly during the debate on Thursday, a talking point to push back on Trump on this issue. Thanks. Folks, this is not a small thing. This is Michael J. Morell, the former United States Deputy Director of the Central Intelligence Agency. He served as the Deputy Director of the CIA from 2010 to 2013 and twice as its acting director, first in 2011 and then from 2012 to 2013. And he's speaking to John O. Brennan. Of course, we know who John Brennan is. John Owen Brennan is a former American intelligence officer who served as the Director of the Central Central Intelligence Agency from March 2013 to January 2017. And let's not play the leftist games here. Of course, they're going to say, well, those are former CIA directors. What does that have to do with federal agencies as of now? Of course, the only adequate response there is give me a freaking break. These aren't just low-level actors in the intelligence community. We're talking about the upper echelon at the CIA and other agencies. Maybe not current acting directors, but certainly part of the boys club, certainly have their pull at the agency, and seemingly they're flexing that pull. That kind of counter-argument is total weak sauce. There's only one way to interpret it, and I'm just going to say it outright. The CIA was actively working behind the scenes to interfere in the previous general election or presidential election. There is no other interpretation here, and the email is as scathing as it gets. John Brennan responds, okay, Michael, add my name to the list, quote, good initiative. Thanks for asking me to sign on. High ups, frankly, I would say the upper echelon, the highest actors, the most powerful individuals in the intelligence community, openly colluding behind the scenes in shadowy fashion, using their position to sway the public's opinion on a massive scandal in order to provide one candidate, one political party ahead of a debate, a, quote, talking point to push back against Donald Trump on this issue. And of course, we know that it goes way beyond the CIA. We know that it goes way beyond this letter and this interaction. We understand through the Twitter files that, again, actors working at the FBI and former FBI counsel were guiding Twitter, Facebook, and other social media platforms to censor the Hunter Biden laptop story before it even dropped. We know that the infamous laptop repair shop owner went to the FBI months prior with the information or with the laptop and the data. The FBI had no interest in pursuing the case. They essentially told the guy to F off. However, they were made aware of the content of the laptop, they were made aware of the scandal that was about to drop, and instead of investigating, instead of acting as neutral arbiters of the law, what did they do? They attempted to get ahead of the story and strong-arm social media companies into censoring it when it dropped. This is the current state of democracy. It's a frickin' illusion, and it seems like people have their blinders on. I mean, hello, do I have to scream it from the frickin' mountaintops? The CIA colluded behind the scenes to protect Joe Biden and unseat President Donald Trump. They purposely got together, organized fake news, propaganda, and mobilized an information censorship campaign to protect their regime puppet Joe Biden and get rid of Donald Trump, who's clearly a danger to the status quo. Is that not freaking computing? Is that not entering people's skulls? It's absolutely insane. It's the biggest scandal of my lifetime, and nobody even knows about it, and no one cares. People are just mindlessly scrolling on TikTok and Instagram, focused on whatever the distraction of the day is. It's crazy. I mean, at this point, it's beyond political party and policy. You have to vote for Donald Trump. There's no other option. It's Donald Trump or the authoritarian regime. It's Donald Trump or truly the end of democracy. I don't know, I just feel like people should be shocked. People should be appalled. It should be the biggest story running on primetime news networks back to back, on every street corner, on the front page of every single magazine and newspaper. But it's not, of course, and that's by design, and it's part of the interference. It's essentially par for the course. And actually, speaking of my frustration, I literally opened Twitter on my second screen, and here's the first post that pops up from a Ron DeSantis shill, copying a Donald Trump post from Truth Social, where he writes, election interference. Plain and simple. This individual, Hen Shawnity, writes, if this post doesn't bring independence over to the Trump camp, I don't know what will. A bunch of Ron DeSantis shills in the comments section cheering this post on. CIA officials actively colluded with Joe Biden's campaign to suppress a scandal and promote false information that discredited said scandal as a Russian plot or a Russian hoax. People are freaking blind, and it's just insane. That's what I got for you, though. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Of course, you know that we'd love to have you here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.